Market Fresh, broadcasting live from San Luis Obispo. Here's your host, Randall White.
Yes, 5 o'clock, straight up. It is the top of the hour here on Crush 92.5 FM. Hope your Thursday is winding up to be a great Thursday. Beautiful weather outside today, that is for sure. Crisp overnights. Chilly, you might even say. I love this weather. Straight ahead on this week's Market Fresh Hour, we are learning some terrific tips and information and all sorts of stuff straight ahead on the program. In fact, I want to talk a little bit about what's coming up on this coming Sunday. We've got a great show for you on Sunday. We'll get to that in just a moment. But first, I want to say that this portion of Eat, Drink, Explore Radio is brought to you by our very good friends at Eberly Winery. Eberly, that's the name you need to just stamp into your head. It's in Paso Robles, and it's open daily from 10 in the morning until 6 o'clock at night with complimentary wine tasting and cave tours, voted by Wine Spectator as one of the best tours on the Central Coast. Eberly Winery is located, very convenient, right on 46 East in Paso Robles, about a 3-mile drive from Highway 101 as you head inland. For more information, log on to eberlywinery.com, and we should mention their hours are from 10 until 6. That's only for a couple of more weeks. When we get into November, it's 10 to 5. Once we get rid of daylight saving time, move into standard time, we shave an hour off because it's a little too dark to sit out on the porch there, and it starts to cool down a little bit. So now's the time to go. You get that full extra hour to enjoy the beautiful scenery that you can see from the Eberly porch or deck that they have there. And we should mention that this coming Friday night, it's Dinner in the Caves at Eberly Winery with Chef Trey Wilcox of Food Network's Top Chef. Right now, it is wait list only, sold out. But if you'd like to be added to the list, because things come up in people's lives, and even if they bought tickets, they can't always attend. So to be added to the list, you need to email events@eberlywinery.com. You can go to their website, eberlywinery.com, if you can't remember that. Or to our website, just click on their ad right there on our website. But I want to encourage you to keep it tuned firmly right here to the Crush at all times, because you don't want to miss, of course, any of the station's outstanding programming, and it is good. Very unique. There's not a station like this for hundreds of miles in any direction from the Central Coast here, San Luis Obispo. Our Sunday morning 9 o'clock hour is when we move from the Market Fresh mode into our Sunday Fun Day banter. And this coming Sunday on the show, we have a spokesperson for TripAdvisor, one of my favorite travel websites, tripadvisor.com. Their top 10 wine tours in the nation. And it should come as no surprise that 8 out of 10 of those wine tours are located right here in California. Then on the topic of top 10s, we'll have tips for picking a tour guide or group, not just wines, but any type of tour. You don't want to spend your hard-earned money and then end up on a real bummer of a tour. And then finally, we'll introduce you to a well-known meteorologist who has been grabbing a lot of headlines lately because he says in the wake of a new climate change study, he'll no longer fly. And this guy was racking up a lot of frequent flyer miles. And he'll tell us why. A lot of headlines with his decision to do that. He used to be the chief meteorologist for the Wall Street Journal. And then a big welcome to our newest sponsor, Sidecar Restaurant on Broad Street between Higuera and Marsh in downtown San Luis Obispo. Tonight, Farmers Market is the perfect night to swing by and say hello. Amazing seasonal menu, updated constantly, and I'm told another update just days away. Back in a moment.
It's Market Fresh on Crush 92.5 FM.
Join us for the 4th annual Central Coast Bioneers Conference, October 25th to the 27th at the Monday Club in San Luis Obispo. You will hear leading thinkers in ecoscience, social and environmental activism, the new food system economy, economics, and ecosystem restoration. Come away with knowledge on how each of us can play a meaningful role in facing today's world challenges. On Friday, our keynote speaker will be Drew Dellinger, founder of Global Poets for Justice. Enjoy the Green Chef Cook-Off Saturday night, October the 26th, with dancing to the Mother Corn Shuckers, wine, and a great selection of Figueroa Mountain beers. Tickets on sale now at centralcoastbioneers.org. That's centralcoastbioneers.org.
You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network.
Fabulous.
Live with the very latest food, beverage, and travel trends.
Amazing.
Now here's the host of our show, Mr. Randall White.
It's true, that's me. Hello, 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 everyone. A very good day to you. You have arrived at California's #1 place to talk about our state's food and beverage scene. And as you know, it's always local, seasonal, and sustainable. This is Eat, Drink, Explore Radio's Market Fresh Hour. It's our goal right now to put you in touch with the farmers who grow, the producers who make, and the people who just simply know about your favorite food and drink. And the more local, the better. All right, later on today's program here, the Market Fresh Hour, we will speak with Chef Tim Shaw. Now, Tim is a New Yorker, but he tore up his roots and moved to Campbell, right there in the South Bay, a neighbor to San Jose on the Highway 17 on the way to Santa Cruz. And he is now the head chef there for the California Culinary Center. California International Culinary Center. New York is their head office, but they decided that you cannot have an international culinary center and not put a satellite in California. So the one in California is right there in Campbell, and Chef Tim Shaw is the guy who teaches all the other chefs how to be sustainable. And he uses a lot of great Central Coast products to do it. So we caught up with Chef Tim Shaw this past week at the South by Southwest Eco Conference in Austin, Texas, and asked him a little bit about that role. And I think we'll have him on the show often, hopefully, so that he can share some of his tips. Since what he's talking about, the produce he uses, the seafood he uses, all those sorts of things come from within reach of us. So he might as well tell us how we can use it and then give us some of his chef tips, things you'd otherwise have to pay a lot of money to get. We'll also welcome the creator of a product that is just really unbelievable. It's called Fresh Paper, and it's a little piece of paper that you put in your produce drawer, and your fruits and vegetables will last 2 to 4 times longer than normal. How many, raise your hand. If you're driving, don't raise your hand. But how many of you have purchased a really nice head of lettuce or some broccoli at the farmer's market, tomatoes? Well, you don't really want to put tomatoes in your refrigerator right away, but I was trying to think of things that would go into the refrigerator immediately. Lettuce and broccoli are a couple of those, maybe some squash. And it's in the drawer, and you haven't forgotten about it, but you just have a lot of food to get through, and then somebody has a dinner that you go out to eat because you're in a rush, and next thing you know, several days have passed, and you open up that drawer, and it's starting to get on the bad side, and then it just goes downhill quickly. And you spend a lot of money on it. It's organic, hopefully, or at least pesticide-free, and grown by some of our terrific farmers here locally. And then you got to go back to the farmer's market or to the grocery store and pick up another. Plus, to make matters worse, whatever it was you were going to make, now you can't make it because you don't have it. Well, this paper is really, truly revolutionary. And it works just using spices, regular old spices, Indian spices, as a matter of fact, that have been infused into this paper, one little sheet, and the whole drawer is good for that amount of time. The produce does not even have to come in direct contact with that paper. So we'll talk to the inventor of this, and she's an amazing woman, and we're really excited to have her on the show. Then we'll round out the show, or actually at the bottom of the hour, is our Vital. We will talk to a woman with Vital Farms, and they are located in South Austin. I got a tour of the farms while I was there this past week. All right, so picture in your head right now what you imagine an egg farm is like, or a chicken farm. And I imagine you're picturing a really crowded barn or some sort of structure that holds all of these hens. Well, this isn't that at all. This is chickens roaming around on the grass. They have more than 100 square feet per bird. If you'll remember, in the not so way back machine, we voted, I think it was in 2008, if I remember correctly. We voted for a cage, was it a cage-free law? It was a law regarding how chickens are raised here in California. And while it was groundbreaking at the time, this 108 square feet per bird is really just remarkable. They are nationwide. They're in stores from coast to coast, including here in California. And the topper to this whole thing is they've just teamed up with an egg producer here in California that will follow their guidelines. And so not only can you buy their eggs and feel good about the birds, you can feel good about supporting a California farmer as well. So we'll introduce you to one of the people behind Vital Farms Eggs. And then if I have a couple of minutes here, so I want to briefly talk about a couple of guests that I'd like to get on the show. I did not get a chance to interview them at South by Southwest Eco, but they have such remarkable stories. One is a guy named Russ Kremer. Now, he's with Heritage Acre Foods. If you're a fan of Chipotle, or if you shop at a Whole Foods store, and you're a fan of pork as well, then you've likely eaten his hogs. Heritage Acres Foods is out of Arkansas, I believe, the Ozark Mountain region. Russ came down with a very serious infection, one that was not treatable with antibiotics, and he got it on his farm from his pigs because he was a heavy user of the antibiotics there on the farm for the pigs, and realized this near-death experience changed everything for him. And he decided no longer could he justify the use of these antibiotics on the hogs that he was raising. So he completely changed his business model and has been incredibly successful. In fact, he now leads 52 other farms in his big Ozark Mountain pork cooperative that supplies people, like I said, Whole Foods, Chipotle, Costco. I'm sure some of you go to Costco, right? And some other stores that are not in California. But Heritage Acres. So Russ was quite a guy, and hopefully we'll get him on the show soon. And then another guy, Doug Roush. He was the founder. Well, he was the president, I should say, of Trader Joe's for many, many years, but he is the founder and president of something now called the Urban Food Initiative, and it's a unique retail concept. He wants to completely change us using the term food waste because we look at it the wrong way. Those sell-by dates, well, they're really flexible, and he thinks that food should be used in a restaurant setting, and hopefully we'll get him on the show here in a couple of weeks. You're listening to Market Fresh on the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network, and we are back in just one moment.
Gary and Marcy Eberly of Eberly Winery invite you to a Harvest Festival dinner in the Caves with Top Chef Trey Wilcox. Friday, October 18th at 6 p.m. Chef Trey Wilcox has won numerous awards, both locally and nationally, and was named one of Food and Wine's best new chefs. Wilcox is all too familiar with the world of chefs and their egos. He was on Top Chef after all, but has no patience with famous for being famous shtick. He would rather just be known for his cooking, and his food is delicious. A perfect blend with Eberly's award-winning wines in the backdrop of their famous caves. Get ready for an amazing dining experience during Harvest Festival. Call Eberly Winery today. 238-9607. That's 238-9607. Dinner in the Caves at Eberly Winery with Top Chef Trey Wilcox. For more information, log on to eberlywinery.com. Dinner in the Caves on Friday, October 18th during Harvest Festival at Eberly. Located on Highway 46, just 3 miles east of the 101 in the heart of Paso Robles wine country.
Vision to Action is the theme for the 4th annual Central Coast Bioneers Conference, October 25th through the 27th at the Monday Club in San Luis Obispo. Come see the marvelous work being done locally and globally to promote resilient communities and explore new strategies and solutions to combat environmental instability and social inequality. Enjoy field trips, local workshops, inspiring talks by the National Bioneers plenary speakers, music, food, and the green marketplace. In fact, bring your broken items to iFixit's Repair Cafe on Friday, October 25th, where they can show you how to fix just about anything. Also on Friday, meet Bioneers co-founder Nina Simons. Tickets on sale now at centralcoastbioneers.org.
And welcome back to the program, everyone. Great to have you here on Eat, Drink, Explore Radio's Market Fresh. I am your host, Randall White, and this segment of the Market Fresh Hour was recorded this week in Austin, Texas, as I attended the South by Southwest Eco Convention. I got to tell you, just lots of great topics here, discussions, and some of the biggest minds when it comes to foods, agriculture, and how to be more sustainable are giving presentations here, and it's just really eye-opening. I just came from a one session, and we'll hear from one of the people that was on that panel a little later in the show, somebody who managed a store you may have heard of called Trader Joe's for some 15-plus years, I believe, is now working to take food that expires and but is still perfectly good changing how we think about that food and turning it into meals for people that right now are food insecure. So that is coming up later in the show. But for this segment, this is where we typically feature a local chef. And so we have with us today someone who will be speaking at the event, Chef Tim Shaw. He is with the International Culinary Center. They have a campus in New York, but they also have a campus right here in our listening area in Campbell in the South Bay. And I just found out, talking to him just prior to this segment, that they source some of their food from the Salinas Valley, one of their sustainable programs, which I just think is fantastic as well. And it's a pleasure to be speaking with Chef Shaw here today. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Nice to meet you as well, Chef Tim. Do you go as Chef Tim or Chef Shaw?
Chef Tim is great, yeah.
Okay, great. And so we also just were sharing how both of us have now use cheater glasses for reading.
Yeah, well, I'll put mine on. Why not?
So
now.
I got to read the script here, and so I needed to be able to see. But so Chef Tim, one of the aspects of what you teach other chefs there in Campbell is how to be more sustainable. And how do you go about doing that today?
Well, the main way that we have designed a program, we have a farm-to-table program, is to get the students out of the four walls of the kitchen. The whole idea is to, while chefs talk about sustainability, they talk about organics, they talk about eating local and all that stuff, they're just kind of words until you actually get out and see what that means. So what we've done is design a program that fits within the 6-month culinary program that they do, that all students do, where we take them to a couple different farms. They see like a nice, small, little organic farm, because when you think farm to table, you think, it's so quaint, and you're going to meet the farmer, and, the farmer's wife makes the cheese, and the kids are milking the cows and stuff. But there are large farms, and there are large organic farms. So we take them to see like a nice, small little farm that's actually kind of an incubator called ALBA, Agricultural and Land-Based Training Association in Salinas, where it's just 90 acres, and people usually who are mostly previous migrant workers or were part-time pickers who want to have their own business will go to this, basically a school. You take classes, and they show you how to start a business. So usually starting with maybe just 2 or 3 rows in an acre. They show you how to get the all the regulations involved with how to get organic certification. Because what a lot of people don't know is that to get organic certification takes a lot of money. It takes a lot of time. So a lot of times when you go to farmers markets, you might not be buying from somewhere that's like, quote unquote, organic, but they might be organic in terms of what you think about organic.
Pesticide-free and those are...
Pesticide-free, no added fertilizers, although you can use some fertilizers, but there's a whole layer of regulation in terms to what that term organic means. And most people just think organic good, conventional bad, and it's not that black and white. So what we do is we take the students to see a nice small farm, and then they go see actually quite a large farm that's several thousand acres, that's also organic, and yet it's being picked by these huge combines, that are run by gas. So when you think organic, you don't think that there's going to be all these sort of petrochemical inputs, but there very well may be. And we we try to approach it from not a judgmental point of like this is good and this is bad, more just of a way of saying, what do these terms mean, and how can we take the terms from just being terms and actually something real, something real. And we take them to the Monterey Bay Aquarium, where they learn all about the Seafood Watch program, which is just awesome. We love that program. We focus on it a lot. Yeah, it's fantastic, and the teacher there is wonderful. And we go to the Monterey abalone farm, where you go under the docks, and the owner just picked up an abalone and sliced it up and handed it out. Didn't pound it, do anything. It was like alive, and then suddenly it's lunch. So it's just a way to make a lot of the concepts in terms of farm to table, organics, this and that, to make them real rather than just a term that they learn. Because particularly in sustainability itself is not a word that's become as sort of watered down as organics has yet. but a lot of people just kind of throw it around and never really define what it actually means. So what we're trying to do is get the students to actually even know what questions to ask. You know, when someone says it's sustainable or local, what do they mean by that? Because you could mean lots of different things by using those terms.
And so that is the ingredient portion of the equation, where the chefs are sourcing their ingredients.
Sourcing, yep. So they know if they're putting the term sustainable, organic, or something on the menu, what that means.
Are there sustainable aspects following that point, like when it comes to the cooking aspect? And then I just came from this great talk on food waste. We know restaurants and food. I managed restaurants for years.
Yep, it's a big issue. And fortunately, we have a really good composting program at our school where we, from day one, we try to get them to separate the compost because, it's a cooking school. You have a lot of waste, particularly the first couple of days when people are learning how to cut and, they're cutting their fingers along with the onions and stuff. A lot of that's got to go into the compost. So we try to train them to get into the habit of saving the compost. But after they've done this whole program, the first 4 months of the program, and then this week-long, basically a field trip where they go to all of these farms and processing plants and the aquarium and stuff. They spend 2 months actually working in a restaurant, and they can choose to work in a more, a farm-to-table or sustainable restaurant or whatever. But that's sort of up to them in terms of where they want to work. But along the way, we show the movies that everyone should see. Fresh and the Food Inc. and stuff like that, and recommend some readings, of course, by Michael Pollan and all that.
He's fantastic.
Oh, it's just brilliant. One of the leaders of the field. But it's yeah. So it's a way to get these concepts and actually turn it into a reality.
What a great resource to have the International Culinary Center, correct, in Campbell, based originally in New York. But now expanding, because California is sort of a ground zero for a lot of
it's the breadbasket of the country, and when they were thinking of expanding, that was one of the big ideas. Of course, when they said we have this opportunity to open a school there, we've got to take advantage of this, because I mean, it would be ridiculous to not, because you're in the, you've got food 12 months out of the year. It's constant. In New York, it's like, you have to import your tomatoes from thousands of miles away in January because they're not growing. I mean, here we've got to get them from Mexico or Arizona in the middle of the winter, but it's still much less food miles than you would in New York. And we're looking for ways to expand this concept, the whole farm to table concept, because we're right in the center. It's there's so much going on, so much really just amazing product 12 months out of the year.
What's the website?
InternationalCulinaryCenter.com. Yes.
People can get more information that way. And we talked a little bit off camera. There are some plans on the horizon for a restaurant, so people listening can kind of look for that?
No, there's a restaurant in New York City. There's a restaurant in New York City here. Rather than working in a restaurant, the students actually go out and work in other restaurants. Yes. Yeah. So we don't have a restaurant here in Campbell.
Chef Tim Shaw with the International Culinary Center. I look forward to hearing you talk at.
Yeah, it should be exciting. Yeah.
And I really appreciate having you on the show. We'll have to do this again.
Absolutely. Anytime.
All right. You're listening to Eat, Drink, Explore Radio's Market Fresh. I am your host, Randall White, and we are recording some of our segments that you'll hear on today's show from the South by Southwest Eco Convention in Austin, Texas. And we are back in just a moment.
Downtown San Luis Obispo is the perfect spot for a weekend brunch offered every Saturday and Sunday from 9:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. Enjoy farm-to-table breakfast plates such as the Ribba Benedicts, Mission Steak and Eggs, and quinoa waffles topped with fresh market berries. Or opt for a lunch plate such as the grilled Asian-style fish taco salad or the roast chicken bacon avocado sandwich. Lounge on the sunny patio with views of the historical Mission Plaza while savoring our bottomless mimosas offered from 9:30 a.m. to noon. Hang out on Sunday afternoons from 3 to 5 p.m. and catch our live music on the patio during $5 happy hour. Luna Red also accommodates large parties, so call us today to make a reservation. Follow us on Facebook for daily specials and visit our website, lunaredslo.com, to view current seasonal menus, our live music schedule, or check out our happy hour offerings. Luna Red is located at 1023 Choro Street at the corner of Monterey. Come to be fulfilled.
Seems everybody's going organic, including lawn care. Did you know communities across the country are converting their lawns, playgrounds, and playing fields to an organic care program? And it's working. You can safely control weeds and pests and have a beautiful lawn. Your kids, pets, and water supplies will be safer, and your neighbors will be green with envy. Oh, and in the long run, organic lawn care is cheaper than doing it the conventional way. Switch to organic lawn care today. Visit pesticidefreelawns.org. The folks who brought you this public service message. Check out pesticidefreelawns.org today.
At the American Lung Association, we're fighting for a day when we can all breathe easier. We're fighting for clear skies over every city and healthy lungs throughout the country. We're fighting to free millions of Americans from the addictive grip of tobacco and the devastating effects of lung disease. The American Lung Association isn't just fighting for air, we're fighting for all the things that make it worth breathing, and we can use your help. See what you can do at fightingforair.org.
Monday Club in San Luis Obispo. You will hear the nation's leading thinkers in eco-science, social and environmental activism, the new food system economy, and much, much more. In fact, enjoy field trips, local workshops, music, food, and the green marketplace. Bring your broken items. I love this part. Bring your broken items to iFixit's Repair Cafe on Friday, October the 25th, where they will show you how to fix just about anything. I mean, seriously, if it's electronic, you can fix it. Enjoy the Green Chef Cook-Off on Saturday night, October the 26th, with dancing to the Mother Corn Shuckers, wine, and great selection of Figueroa Mountain beers. Tickets are on sale right now at centralcoastbioneers.org. Okay, time to consider the eggs you buy and the variety of terms printed on the cartons. You know, we've got free range and cage free, organic, of course, and the list really goes on and on. Our first choice here at on the Market Fresh Hour is to direct you to your local farmer's market. Get to know the egg vendors, how they raise their chickens, and then pick the one that you feel most comfortable with, you know? However, at the grocery store, you don't have the option to speak directly with the farmer. Well, back on Tuesday, I had the opportunity to tour a one-of-a-kind egg farm in Austin, Texas, where they are pasture raising the chickens and are the only national distributor to follow a very strict set of guidelines that they've put in place. And the good news is the eggs they sell here in California will soon be coming from a family-run California farm. Here to talk a little bit more about this operation and how it all works, and to go through the list of those different printings that you see on the egg packages, spell it out for us a bit, is Aurora Porter. She's with Vital Farms there in South Austin. More information at vitalfarms.com. Aurora, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
And I should mention that we actually recorded this interview face-to-face on the farm in Austin, but I had an audio technical problem. So we've got Aurora on the phone right now. It's sort of a do-over, a redo. But I really appreciate you giving me a tour of the farm, and I want to direct people right now to our website, eatdrinkexplore.com, because while we had an audio problem, the video was working just fine. So if you want to see what this farm looks like and the amount of space that these birds actually have, we're playing the video right now as part of our video simulcast. And if I remember correctly, Aurora, each bird under your guidelines has a minimum of, 108 square feet per bird?
Yes, 108 square feet outdoors on fresh, rotated pastures all day, every day, year-round.
And that seems like an odd number. Where did the 108 come from? Do you know?
Well, we really have tried to be the leaders in farming of chickens in this country. And, in the past, people's grandparents, great-grandparents always had, they had birds living outside foraging, eating kind of a varied diet of a little mix of seed and grass. So we work with Certified Humane. It's a third-party certification kind of nonprofit, and they helped us to kind of figure out, okay, what's the optimum amount of space a bird can have that really gives them access to as many bugs and flowers and grasses and, as possible. Mm-hmm. And that's usually how much, they eat that down in about a week or so, depending on the amount of, space the flock itself has. So we just found that's the best number, and that's a minimum. So some of our farms have even more space than that per bird.
And birds are omnivores. Do I have that right?
Absolutely, yeah. They'll eat snakes and mice and flowers and native grasses. And, they really need to get about 4 ounces of protein per day to lay about an egg a day. So we have to supplement with a little feed that they get unlimited access to grass and bugs in the field.
Now, let's give shoppers a little education here when it comes to what they see printed on the egg cartons. So on your carton, it says pasture raised, which does not have a federal guideline as of yet, but Vital Farms is pushing for that to happen?
Yes, we really would love if the the recognized guideline was 108 square feet minimum per bird outdoors, about a 10 by 10 plot.
Okay. And then you said that you had a humane certification. Is there more than one organization out there doing this, or the one that you work with, is it the main one?
Sure. There's, I think the 2 main ones are Certified Humane and Animal Welfare Approved, AWA. They're each a little different, and we just really like the standards of Certified Humane. They really, really focus, as well as AWA, on the welfare of the bird. Are they able to behave like a bird? Can they have spaces for perching? Are their nest boxes clean enough? Are they? Do they have a lot of space to move outdoors, breathe fresh air, chase their friends, bathe and do a dust bath, which helps keep the birds free of pests and things like that. So really a lot more goes into it than people think for the bird to have a really quality life.
I was just on the Foster Farms website out here in California. They've been having some issues surrounding salmonella. And I noticed on their website they said they have they are American Humane Certified. And why that even stood out to me was because I had just spoken with you, back in Austin, and I thought, well, are there like a number of these different ones? And is it a situation where it just sounds good in certain cases, so you really have to see who's doing the certification?
Well, so if I have it correct, they're a chicken, like a meat operation, correct?
Correct.
Found
Yeah.
the salmonella. Yeah. So I don't know much about that certification, but it seems to be a bit hollow. They're a more of a conventional farm for broiler chickens,
right?
I believe.
Yeah.
So a broiler chicken in a conventional situation is probably raised in either a cage or a barn, never going outside, never having fresh air, and never having access to grass and fresh pastures. So those are all the things that really go a long way toward improving the immune system of the bird. So when you have a bird that is when you have a human that's eating lots of salad and exercising every day and has a lot of space to move and fresh air and sunshine, that human is going to be much healthier and much less likely to become sick. Salmonella is everywhere. You're just more likely to get it if your immune system is compromised.
And when you have close quarters, I don't care if it's a preschool or public transit or whatever it might be, when you have a lot of people close together or animals that are close together, that's how things spread. And so your chickens having so much room to run around and not be jammed in next to each other, I imagine there's less need for antibiotics.
Absolutely, yeah. We never use antibiotics or hormones on our birds, and we don't use pesticides or herbicides on our pastures ever. We do pasture-raised organic and pasture-raised non-organic eggs, but the non-organic eggs, it's a matter of the seeds that they're eating. So it's that's the only difference there. Yeah, antibiotics and hormones are not necessary really for a good egg operation.
All right, so Aurora, let's talk a little bit about the differences between cage-free and free-range. What do those terms mean?
So cage-free just means not in a cage. So free-range also just means not in a cage. Free-range, of course, has connotations of cowboys and wide open spaces and, freedom to roam around, but it really doesn't mean any of that in this type of way that we've been encouraged to think of it. So the birds are inside in a barn with not a lot of fresh air. There's like a dense, heavy, ammonia in the air that, had burned my eyes when I visited some of these operations and farms. So a lot of refuse on the floors. They're not cleaned very often. It's really a very unsanitary kind of space. And so it doesn't mean that the birds ever get to go outside.
Right. So I'm looking on your website here. Again, that's vitalfarms.com, VITAL farms.com. And one of the facts, the frequently asked questions is, do you clip your birds' beaks? Is that common practice typically on egg farms?
Absolutely. So if you've got a lot of birds, and often when these birds are caged, they're sharing a cage with, 2, 3, 4 other birds. So the laying hens are all in a cage together. They don't even have enough room to stand up, move their wings, stand at full height. They're very crammed in, and then they are often, understandably very stressed and very, they're depressed, and they often have some anger problems, and they really, birds do peck each other when stressed and in kind of close quarters. So
yeah, there's even an expression in English, the pecking order, or the being henpecked, or what So it's clearly natural, but I'm sure it's emphasized when you put the bird under so much stress in tight situations.
Yeah, so they clip the beaks in order to help keep the birds from killing each other, and then we do not find it necessary to do that, because our birds really need to also have the ability to forage. So a slightly sharp beak will really give them the ability to forage.
Well, I love it. Aurora Porter with Vital Farms in Austin, Texas. Keep up the great work, and thanks for including a California farm now.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, stick around. We're back in just a moment. You're listening to Market Fresh. Join us for the 4th annual Central Coast Bioneers Conference, October 25th to the 27th at the Monday Club in San Luis Obispo. You will hear leading thinkers in ecoscience, social and environmental activism, the new food system economy, economics, and ecosystem restoration. Come away with knowledge on how each of us can play a meaningful role in facing today's world challenges. On Friday, our keynote speaker will be Drew Dellinger, founder of Global Poets for Justice. Enjoy the Green Chef Cook-Off Saturday night, October the 26th, with dancing to the Mother Corn Shuckers, wine, and a great selection of Figueroa Mountain beers. Tickets on sale now at centralcoastbioneers.org. That's centralcoastbioneers.org.
Gary and Marcy Eberly of Eberly Winery invite you to a Harvest Festival dinner in the Caves with Top Chef Trey Wilcox. Friday, October 18th at 6 p.m. Chef Trey Wilcox has won numerous awards, both locally and nationally, and was named one of Food and Wine's best new chefs. Wilcox is all too familiar with the world of chefs and their egos. He was on Top Chef after all, but has no patience with famous for being famous shtick. He would rather just be known for his cooking, and his food is delicious. A perfect blend with Eberly's award-winning wines and the backdrop of their famous caves. Get ready for an amazing dining experience during Harvest Festival. Call Eberly Winery today. 238-9607. That's 238-9607. Dinner in the Caves at Eberly Winery with Top Chef Trey Wilcox. For more information, log on to EberlyWinery.com. Dinner in the Caves on Friday, October 18th during Harvest Festival at Eberly. Located on Highway 46, just 3 miles east of the 101 in the heart of Paso Robles wine country.
And welcome back, everyone. It is now 49 minutes past the hour. Time for the final segment here on the Eat, Drink, Explore Market Fresh Hour. Keep in mind, there is a whole nother hour coming up. Great food, craft beer, wine, travel and tourism talk Sundays from 9 to 10 right here on this station. And this is the Market Fresh Hour's Farmers Market segment, where we get some great ideas from market managers, vendors, and other players in the world of fresh produce. And today, we are speaking with a person who is the creator of a revolutionary product to extend the shelf life of the fruit and vegetables you purchase. You know, you spend your hard-earned money on this stuff each week at the farmer's market, maybe at the grocery store, or even through a local CSA. All great ways to get locally grown produce. And I do not use the term revolutionary lightly. You really need to turn up your radio and pay attention right now. I'm not kidding. This past week at the South by Southwest Eco Conference in Austin, Texas, I had the great pleasure of sitting in on a panel discussion regarding food waste and cutting-edge ways to attack this very challenging issue. It's just gut-wrenching how much food is wasted worldwide each year and the energy to create that food. And that's where I first became aware of our guest and her product. Joining us on the Market Fresh live line right now from the Boston, Massachusetts area, I believe, is Kavita Shukla. She's the woman behind Fresh Paper. Kavita, welcome to the program.
Hi, Randall. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
And I want to apologize again to you. I didn't get a chance to come up and personally say hello because I had to rush out of that panel discussion, but I really appreciate you being on the show with us this evening to talk about this product. You had me riveted as you talked about its origins. You were in India visiting family. You drank some water you shouldn't have, and then what happened?
Yeah, it was pretty serendipitous. When I was in middle school, I was actually visiting my grandma, and like you said, I drank some tap water while brushing my teeth. And I was so worried that I'd get sick, and my grandmother gave me this home remedy, this kind of spiced tea. And, you know, even though I was really skeptical, I drank it, and I didn't get sick. And then I became so curious about how this mixture could have potentially kept me from getting sick that when I got back to the U.S., back home to Maryland, I started a little middle school science project to learn more. And what I actually ended up finding is that some of the spices in the mixture were really effective inhibitors of bacterial and fungal growth. And eventually, I applied what I'd learned in making Fresh Paper, which is a little piece of paper that keeps food fresh for longer, but it's made only with these edible, naturally antifungal, naturally antibacterial organic spices. This is just remarkable. And I want to say you're in the Maryland area. I said Boston. I apologize. So this little piece of paper is infused with these spices that it had gnawed at you ever since you drank that tea in India. And when you use this, how much does it extend the life of a piece of produce that it comes in contact with? Yeah, so, each sheet is about 5 inches by 5 inches. So it's just a tiny little sheet. Our customers actually call it like a dryer sheet because you just have to put one sheet into a refrigerator drawer or a fruit bowl or any container filled with produce, and it'll keep everything in there fresh for about 2 to 4 times longer. Really? So, produce, especially the organic, locally grown produce, can be on the pricey side. And if you want what's just coming into season, it's always a little bit more. Or if it's at the tail end of the season, it might be a little more as well. And it's just such a bummer when you get these really great peaches or whatever it might be, and they rot on you and you end up throwing them away. If you can extend the shelf life by, what did you say, 2 to 4 times? Yeah, it's about 2 to 4 times. From a consumer standpoint, it's just a no-brainer that you would throw these in the drawer. But it has so many other applications as well. Let's talk a little bit about how it's being used worldwide. Sure. Well, we actually started Fenugreek at a local farmer's market, but our hope was always that, we could sell Fresh Paper to one day get it to people in need across the globe. Because as you mentioned, there's so many applications for something like this, especially in areas where people don't even have access to refrigeration. Right now, over 1 billion people live without access to basic electricity, and even in food banks in the U.S., there's, over 50 million Americans that are food insecure because of inefficiencies in food distribution, a lot of which
comes from spoilage. So about a year ago, actually, we started a Buy a Pack, Give a Pack program where for every single sheet that we sell, we actually donate one to a local food bank, and soon we're hoping to get it to farmers in the developing world. And we already have some farmers that are using it in places like Malawi, which is really exciting for us. And most of that has just been through grassroots spread because, like you said, people just got so excited about being able to not only keep food fresh in their own homes, but to be able to support this mission and a way of helping people across the globe.
You know, as a former news anchor, I have been the rallying cheerleader on many occasions when a station that I worked for teams up with a food bank to raise food around the holidays or whatever it may be. And time again, we say no perishables, make it a canned item,
Right.
make it this, make it that, because the food banks have such a challenge when it comes to the perishables. This looks like it could be at least a part of an answer to that.
We hope so. You're absolutely right. That's what I also remember growing up is that we always kind of had to bring canned food and processed food, and mostly the food that's not really the healthiest
Right.
to the people that really do need it the most.
Yeah. So it's just that's why I just got chills actually thinking about it. When I used the word revolutionary, I wasn't kidding. There's nothing else like this on the market, is there?
Yeah, we've been amazed by that as well. As you know, it started very simply and it was pretty serendipitous. I never thought that my middle school science project would be something that would eventually be in stores like Whole Foods, that people would be using it in their own homes. But what we've been really amazed and encouraged and inspired by is the number of people that have come up to us and said, I've wanted something organic and all natural, something that I feel safe using around my food, and especially people who have children. And, what they've told us also is that as far as we know, this is the first and only all-natural, organic, compostable, active packaging on the market.
So in California here, where our listeners get this Market Fresh Hour, they can get it at a local Whole Foods. Is that your main means of distribution?
Yeah, we ship worldwide through our website, which is fenugreen.com.
Oh, perfect.
And we have shipping online. And then we're in a number of independent stores and co-ops in California as well as some of the Whole Foods stores out there.
So if you don't see it, ask your grocer folks for this. Fenu is FENU green.com. And it's called Fresh Paper. Pick up a pack and throw it in with the CSA box you get each week. So, Kavita Shukla, thank you so much for joining us today, really.
It's just been a pleasure.
All righty, everyone. That does it for the Market Fresh Hour. And another reminder, a whole nother hour of great food, craft beer, wine, travel, and tourism talk. Sundays 9 to 10 right here on this station. I'm your host, Randall White, saying bon appetit. Get out there and enjoy what California has to offer.